busy mom and a super passionate writer, sometimes those two roles of mine don't really mix and match very well. And so because of that, I have to be really intentional about how I spend my time and maximize my use of time. There was a season in my life where I was super busy. I was writing a book, finalizing my dissertation, taking care of two young kids, working a full-time job, and working a part-time job. And so I was beyond overwhelmed, but I know that writing is my outlet. I know that that's something that I desire to do. And so I had to make room to become more productive. And during that season is when I learned some of the best strategies to improve my productivity. And so today I want to talk about time blocking and how I use that and how it's helped me. And more importantly, how it can help you too. Time blocking is a time management technique where you basically chunk your day into sections. So for example, you could probably say, well, Dr. Nicole, yeah, I already go to work from 8 to 4 o'clock. And so I've now hacked my time in that way and blocked my time off to focus on work. But when you're at work, you're probably focused on checking personal emails and paying bills and balancing that with work meetings and everything else. And so you're not really time blocking, because with time blocking, you're hyper focused, laser focused on one task at a time. For this exact reason, time blocking is so amazing, because when you're not forced to be pulled in a lot of different directions or you're not easily distracted, you can give all of your energy and effort to one task at a time and in turn become more productive. Just this morning, I wrote 2 blog posts and I used the time blocking system. And so I blocked off an hour to focus on the blog post that I was going to write, but I turned off my phone, I turned off my notifications, I made sure there were no other distractions, and I didn't commit to doing anything else during that time. And would you know, I was able to produce 2 blog posts in under 20 minutes. Now, if I tried to produce blog posts, but also was answering social media and answering my phone when it rings and making sure that my kids were, down there with me, I would have been pulled in too many different directions to really focus my attention on that one task. Time blocking is so important that you just focus on one task so you're not easily distracted or thrown off course. For every distraction, it takes you time to readjust back to the task at hand. So if you're writing a book and then you get a text message, you're focused on the text message, and now you have to readjust to focus on writing the book, and you've now lost time. The point of time blocking is that you're not wasting time, but instead you're making the most of your time. One of the greatest benefits about time blocking is when you put it into your calendar, whether it's digital or whether it's physical, you're able to see the big picture. You're able to see how you're really spending your hours, how you're truly spending your time. Because if we're being honest, if I were to ask you where your time goes, sometimes it's difficult to actually say or to actually share or to actually know. And so when you time block, you really can understand the big picture and you're able to see where your time goes. You are also able to prioritize better, because you can look and see, well, if I need an hour to write a blog, but I also need an hour to cook dinner, but I also have 8 hours to be at work, where do I need to make shifts or adjustments to make room for the things that are of utmost importance? When I time block consistently, I have so much satisfaction with the outcome of my day, because I'm able to look back and realize that the time that I dedicated to the tasks were not only accomplished, but I was productive during that time. And that's a big misunderstanding that people have. We often assume that if we're busy, that equals productivity, and the two are totally different. So now that I've shared all of the benefits of time blocking, you're probably wondering, how do you time block? What a great question. The first thing you need to do is you need to review your current schedule. Take some time to look at your schedule and see how you're spending your time. Don't just think about it like, yeah, I know that I go to work for 8 hours, check, and I know that I spend an hour in traffic, check. I want you to actually physically write it down, because when we have to write it down, it confronts our view or perspective of it. And a lot of times it's totally different. So I want you to take, a view of your schedule and review it and consider where you're spending your time. The next thing I want you to do is I want you to determine what on your schedule could possibly be moved or lumped together. Now, if we're being honest, you probably spend a few, maybe 1 to 2 hours on social media or 2 to 3 hours watching TV. Is there a way that you can cut down on some of that time? If we're being honest, you probably spend a lot of time checking your email. You check it in the morning, you check it at lunch, you check it at night, and maybe sometimes throughout the day. Is there a way that you could consider doing a 30-minute time block of email checking in the morning and then a 30-minute time block of it in the afternoon, so that you're not constantly turning your email on and off? The importance of writing down your schedule allows you to review what can be removed totally, what can be combined, and what you need to check in with and see if it's something that still is important. The next thing I want you to do is I want you to identify your big goal. What are you trying to make room for? Are you trying to make room to be more attentive and involved with your children? Are you trying to make room to write a book? Are you trying to make room to get your blog up and going? What are you trying to make room for? And consider how much time you think you may need for that task. Now, I want you to create a new schedule. The new schedule is going to combine the things that you need to accomplish, removing the things that no longer should be on your schedule. And it's going to combine your big goal, the thing that you want it to make room for. And I want you to draft it out so that you can see it in a physical sense. Here's the key point at this part of the process. You gotta make room for breaks. So a lot of times we will jam pack our day, but then if we're 5 minutes late to getting to work or we're 5 minutes late to our kids' extracurriculars, we go crazy because we didn't make room. We didn't leave room for buffers. You gotta leave room for breaks, for downtime, and for buffers. This is huge. When you leave a little bit of a buffer room, it allows you to leave room if you maybe go over that work meeting, or maybe if you write too long, or maybe if you get stuck in traffic, that leaves room for that. When you create room for breaks, it reminds you that you're not all in it for go, go, go and always trying to be uber duper productive, but that you're human and that we deserve downtime as well. Breaks give us opportunities to have things to look forward to so that we don't look at our schedule in the morning or in the evening and feel overwhelmed before it even begins. The next thing I want you to consider as you're writing this down is you could also consider overestimating your time by just a little bit. This can give you a little bit more comfort of not feeling so compacted in your schedule. So if you know that it would typically take 45 minutes to respond to emails twice a day, then maybe you give it an hour so that, again, you're not feeling rushed during that 45 minutes and you can move through more mindfully and more intentionally. And that's with any task. You want to move through all of your tasks more intentionally and not feel rushed. So don't try to cut corners and cut time just for the sake of, packing everything into a day, but leave a little bit of room so that you can move through it appropriately at an appropriate pace. Finally, the last step is to get started today. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing twice, expecting a different result. And the reality is what you're doing with your schedule is likely not working. That's why you're watching this video. So now I'm giving you the tools and strategies and systems to help you increase not just your busyness, because we don't want to be busy, but actually increase your productivity. When you know better, you do better. And so now you have the tools to move forward with confidence that you can create a schedule that allows you to be productive and feel good about it. Let's get started, guys.